Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we are deep diving into Silver Elite, the book that was supposed to be a spicier Hunger Games. And again, I'm just wondering, why did we need that? Especially if it has basically nothing to do with the Hunger Games. We're gonna finish where we left off before this book finishes me, and not in a fun way. Though the characters are about to do that. This book is so annoyingly pointless. I have never seen a dystopian used as set dressing more than this. It doesn't answer basic questions because it's so busy being rhymes with corny. Here's some highlights from me yelling about the first half of the book. I may be reckless, but I'm not stupid. You soldiers! I'm an intelligent person, observant, strategic. Strategic? Is this a joke? Is this a joke on me specifically? I've got an excellent memory. Do you? I can take one look at the north pasture on my ranch and tell you if one blade of grass is out of place. But you can't come up with an idea to save your own skin? Okay. But for some reason, despite growing up with this man consistently doing this, this woman does not think ahead and is really impulsive and is soldiers, which doesn't make sense because then when the guy says, oh, I should come to your ranch sometime, she's like, why does he want to come to my ranch? Because you just gave him that good and now he wants some more. It's very simple. When it comes to command, I err on the side of paranoia. You just boned him. What are you talking about? If you can't be in the uprising, you could at least keep yourself safe by not screwing soldiers. He starts to strip. His bare taunts me. Oh, I feel taunted as well. In a different way than you, though. She's really into his hot cross buns because he's not like other butts. Even if we took out a fraction of the talking about how hot Cross and his hot cross buns are, we could have instead done some fucking world building, but no, not in this book. I have a lot of unanswered questions. I have written down a list. I'll just read through some of them. Why did the main character and her uncle leave the Blacklands? We're at 50%. We still don't know. Why did they go to the Blacklands to begin with? What are the Blacklands? Her uncle then had them leave the Blacklands and settle in Ward Z for guns? But why did we go to the Blacklands at all? If I have heard about how hot the general's fascist son is, then I should have and I've heard that multiple times, I should have an answer for why we went to the Blacklands. Why does the fascist general's assumedly fascist son want her in Silver Squad so bad? Is it literally just because she's pretty? That's boring. If the mutant people have a birthmark that tells you that they're a mutant, then why isn't this regime, this government, checking babies and kids for that? Couldn't anybody be blamed for incitement in this world, similarly to how anybody could have been accused of being a witch? Why did Jade Valance, first of all, why is her name Jade Valance and why is that so close to J.D. Vance? But why did she just join the tribunal recently? If she's the most powerful mind reader and has been working for Redden since she was 17, the general, why wasn't this done sooner? Conveniently, she just happened to get put on the tribunal right before our main character's uncle was arrested? And why would they want our main character, someone who believed that the killing of her uncle was unjustified, why would they want her to be in special forces? How are they possibly justifying this? None of this makes any sense! I cannot believe that I paid for this audiobook. I do have a bad book budget, but I think even this book is unjustified in being purchased with my bad book budget. I am budgeting, so I will stop wasting money on things that I don't need, with the help of today's sponsor, which is Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. It also helps you make a custom budget and grow your savings. All of that in one place. I've been using Rocket Money to help me budget for upcoming trips. I went to DC recently, and I'm going to New York for BinderyCon, and Rocket Money helps me budget so that I can financially plan hassle-free and very quickly. They make this so easy. I also love how it makes it so that I can cancel unwanted subscriptions. It identifies all the subscriptions that I am paying for, and it helps me cancel the ones that I'm not using anymore with just a few clicks. The app also helps me identify top spending categories and helps me set a budget for myself. So this is specifically how I am making sure that I am not going over my bad book budget. Rocket Money has been so helpful for me. So if you want to save more and spend less, join the over 10 million members using Rocket Money, and you can get started for free. And you can do so by going to rocketmoney.com/readswithrachel or click the link in the description to get started today. Once again, that's rocketmoney.com/readswithrachel. The link is down below, and thank you so much to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. You know what? I actually want to go through a few more of my unanswered questions because I can't stress to you how many unanswered questions I have. And at 50% of the book, it's not that all of these should be answered by now, but certainly some of them should be answered by now because, again, if we break this down into how much time we're spending on certain things, it does not justify the amount of time we spend thinking about how hot this guy who is the general's son is, who she should not be attracted to because he is the fascist general's son. So for instance, mods, the people with powers, have perfect eyesight. Do they have any other senses that are perfect? And if so, and why do they have perfect eyesight? So do they also have perfect smell? I don't know, maybe just perfect cheekbones? What are we working with and why? There was this hotshot pilot who works for the resistance who gets brought up, I believe, in the military school that she's currently in. And I'm surprised that this does not come up more. Like, doesn't Command know about him? Wouldn't Silver Elite, very specifically, the thing that she's trying to get into now, not before, but suddenly she's like, oh, maybe I should try. Wouldn't they very specifically be trying to take down this hotshot pilot who works for the resistance? When her classmate Batima, who was working for the resistance, was killed, did she get checked for having a blood mark which identifies her as a person with powers? Did she get checked for one of those when she was murdered? Do they, why don't they check everybody? Because again, you could just identify who is modded and who is not. I'm confused as to why our main character's shield held up to Jade Valance, the amazing mind reader, but her uncle, Jim, who trained her, her uncle's shield did not hold up, but her shield did. Is she just like overpowered? Which again is very boring. Again, my biggest question, my biggest gripe, I don't know how many times I said it in the last video, she considers all of this to be a war on her people, on people with powers. She calls it a war. If you are in war, why are you willfully fucking soldiers? Sex is a distraction I'm not sure I can afford right now. Not when I'm in enemy territory. You fuck soldiers consistently. Also, you are always in enemy territory because if anybody, including people in your village, found out that you were modified, you'd be dead or in a camp. What do you mean in enemy territory? You're always in enemy territory. I'm just gonna keep asking. How does command recruiting work? Command is the military, and how does recruiting work? Does it work like the US military? Again, we don't know where this author is from. So is this like commentary on the US military? Because if so, we're missing the piece of it that is really important to talk about when we talk about the US military and how they prey upon people. They typically go into lower income communities and offer them a way out. So is that happening here? This is just like a general world building question rather than a critique. So like I'm genuinely asking, but I should already know a little bit of that. Like I should already have like maybe some hints at an answer to that. And again, it's very disproportionate in what I know versus about the world versus how much time we are spending on her being attracted to people she shouldn't be attracted to. And I say she shouldn't be attracted to because that's the words she used. I know I shouldn't, but I am. I get it. I know you really like to bone these people who are oppressing you. I'm just wondering if maybe we could do something else. So let's get into what happened in the second half of the book. And yes, this is where the actual spice is going to come up. Okay, I have put off filming this for an ungodly amount of time. You might actually notice some things have changed between the beginning. I mean, certainly time has passed since between part 1 of this and part 2 of it. But also time has passed since the beginning of the video. And my tattoos filled in. I went to New York. Time has passed. I was supposed to film this long ago. Didn't do my job. And here we are. This is supposed to be getting edited right now. How can something be edited that isn't already filmed, Rachel? It can't be. Okay, where we last left off was page 280. That was the end of chapter 29. They had just bumped mouths in a hallway. Just a little oopsie doopsie. They start having them jog in the mornings now. Of course, our main character has to be a sassy exercise hater, which is fine when it's just like me and my pals making bad jokes. In a book, I don't really want to hear it. Who invented jogging? Is this not something we could have left behind in the old era? Haha! Good one. Of the 38 recruits left, I have no idea how many will be selected for elite. All I can do is work my ass off to make up for the first 3 weeks that I bungled. Yes, you do have to do that. And again, That just doesn't feel very strategic of you. You know, judging by my notes and what I recall of the ending of this book, I feel like I'm just going to harp on the fact that this main character called herself strategic, and the end of this book is really where that is shown to be a lie. They return to the training center from the, jogging, and awareness floods her body when Cross is at the entrance. I can't get it out of my head. That kiss, his touch, his scent. I shouldn't have kissed him. Stupid fucking move. You shouldn't have kissed him. However, I'm not surprised by this because, again, and I will continue to say this, you fuck soldiers repeatedly, consistently. Soldiers who, if given the opportunity, would in fact kill you, or at least turn you in to be killed. Cross's head swivels in my direction. My obnoxious heart flutters. Stupid fucking heart. Oh, brother, this writing. Walking about, she hears her name, and it's the guy Jordan, who, again, was the soldier who she boned at the beginning of this book here. It's been a little over a month, yet it feels like a lifetime ago when I was in bed with this man. I tried to find you after they executed your guardian. All I was told was that you'd been detained. I told them there's no way that you knew your guardian was a fecht. Don't forget that they use fecht, which is a slur in this. Poor misguided Jordan with his poor misplaced face. Ha! Darlington, quit fraternizing, rejoin your cell, says, what's his name? Cross. So her training squad is told that they're going to start UCOs this week, which stands for Undercover Operations. Ro, which is Cross Redden's shitty younger brother who the book refers to as a psychopath, I don't like using that term like that, is annoyed because he doesn't get placed in the lineup, the schedule for this. We don't have a solid cover in place for you yet. That's bullshit, brother. It is what it is, brother. Oh, brother. Feels like Hulk Hogan up in here. Brother. She gets her backstory for her first undercover op, which is also a training thing, but it's a real thing because they're really going to go do something. And it says, excitement tickles my stomach as I read my backstory. Great. I wish excitement was tickling my stomach, and instead, it just kind of hurts. That's probably because I've been drinking way too much Monster this week, though. She's supposed to be assigned to a specific supervisor, but of course she gets reassigned to Cross Redden. They're about to go do an op that just turns into her sitting in his lap. It had no point other than they wanted to have a scene where she sits in his lap. Cool. Just like the rest of this book, everything is made up and the points don't matter. I have no idea where I'm going or what I'm doing. Wow, that seems like a terrible idea for an undercover op. Her comm signal name, the name that her name on the comms is Broken Dove. Guess who gave her that name? The lack of details is making my skin itch. Yeah, me too. Me too, brother. Brother. They are going to an op site. It's called Haven. It's owned by a woman named Shanice. It's an illegal brothel masking itself as city lodgings with a pub downstairs. If you know it's a brothel, why haven't you shut it down? Sometimes it's more advantageous to leave the criminals be. Nelson's a low-level threat. Good for intel when we need it. Your objective is to make content and ask about a job. You're there because you don't want to apply for human services. It's too heavily regulated and there's no credits to be made there. She's like, I'm going it alone. I'm surprised Cross trusts me to carry this out. Girl, I'm surprised that Cross Redden would trust you with a bucket of water. You are absolutely idiotic, but okay. She orders some synth whiskey, because don't forget they can't drink real whiskey, it's too expensive, so they get synthetic alcohol. Pretends that it's her birthday when she gets to the bar, and they do give her some real whiskey, which is, of course, better than the synthetic kind. I spot a few more command soldiers, though I suppose that makes sense. Soldiers like to get drunk and laid. Yes! Typically, you're the one doing the laying. She says that her name is Gilly. She asks to talk to Shanice. So Shanice is like, why did you come to Haven looking for work specifically? What gave you the idea that we might accept workers who weren't assigned to us by the company? I guess that's how work works here. She's like, oh, my friend said you might be able to help me. What friend? I don't want to betray her confidence. Then I don't have anything else to say to you, Gilly. And then Cross walks in. Heads turn as Cross walks by them. Girl, I do not care. I know, I get it, he's hot. I've been told a million times. There's no reason why I should know how hot Cross and his hot cross buns are and not know anything about this world. I don't get it. But of course, it doesn't matter because we're actually going to get an entire section about how hot Cross is. Why? And in case that's not enough, don't worry, she specifically says, he looks good. edible. What is this? Some sort of trap? Why is a command captain in here? She says to the lady running the joint. We've got a very loyal customer base within the command. They're not here to cause trouble. He comes in every few weeks to blow off steam. He's a customer? So Shanice, the lady who runs the joint, is talking to Cross, and Cross says that he wants our main girl, Darlington, to keep her company. Of course. What if I don't want to do that? Let's call this a job interview. So Cross is like, sit down, have a drink with me. On my lap. Pats his knee. Cutie. He's touching my leg, stroking my knee, squeezing my thigh over the thin fabric of my dress. Redden, are you related to the general? I'm his son. He turns off his comms, and since they're no longer transmitting to command, he leans over and whispers in her ear, I was wrong before. You make a very good whore, Dove. She starts to feel ashamed. Her lip is quivering, and she's like, I withdraw the offer. That's what I thought. This asshole is laughing at me as he zips up his pants. You'd make a terrible whore, Dove. Screw you. Yes, I'm already aware of how much you want that. You're usually a better liar than this. I see the way you look at me. I hate that he's right. Me too, bitch. Me too. I didn't peg you as someone who pays for it. He says he's not somebody who pays for it, but what if he was? And she's like, whatever gets you off. And he says, I'm easy to please, which is true. This guy isn't in anything that I wouldn't call like vanilla, which like fine. I'm just saying that if you were hoping for this to get like spicy beyond like vanilla spice, afraid not. This ain't the book for that. How long do I have to sit on you? For as long as I fucking tell you to. Great, that's fine. Okay. He's looking in her eyes, and if you don't recall, she has yellow eyes, because of course she does, that he describes as liquid gold with flecks of sunlight dancing in it. Cute. She used to get called like a witch at school for having yellow eyes. And when she tells him about this, she's like, yeah, a kid at school called me a witch. And he's like, and then you beat the shit out of him? How did you know? Enough about me. Tell me about you, Captain. Do you like your father? Whoa! Girlfriend. What the fuck are we doing? Remember how she said she was strategic? Lies! The abrupt subject change startles him. Girl, me too. What kind of question is that? Just curious, you never speak about him. There's not much to say. Let's stop talking about trivial shit. I want to know more. Or maybe I don't. It's bad enough that I'm attracted to my enemy. It is a problem. I wouldn't be having this problem if Hadley was supervising me. Then again, the idea of having to sit on Hadley's lap makes me nauseous. I prefer Cross's lap a little too much. Oh, brother! He's kissing her neck, and then he says, all right, push me off you. Tell them you can't do this. You're not ready for this line of work, and leave. She's like, oh, but I don't want to. It feels so good here in his lap. I hate myself for it. Go to your drop zone and return to base. She slaps him in the face, gets off his lap, says, I can't do this. The end of the chapter says, I don't even know what the purpose of this op was. Girlfriend, me neither. If I did well or not, all I know is that my body is still burning from Cross's touch. As I slide in the backseat, I hear his voice in my ear. Dove, report to my office for a debrief. And I wrote down, and I'm not kidding because it's right there. I swear to God, if that didn't have a purpose other than horniness, I am going to McFrickin' lose it. That's what my note says. McFrickin' lose it. And McFrickin' lose it I did. She goes in his office. It's late. He has a bunch of paper maps, which she finds fascinating. I can't say the same. He doesn't seem like an old era guy. It's incredible to own a real paper book, flip through real tangible pages. It's nearly impossible to procure paper products unless you're willing to pay through the nose for them. I just burped mid-sentence. Oh my goodness. It's nearly impossible, blah, blah, blah. The last war destroyed much of the planet. Over a century later, the lumber isn't readily available. The trees that were replanted never quite grew as tall as they should. Now, we are at page 300 of a, how many pages is this? 500 something? Yeah, like 515 page book. This should, I mean, that's over halfway. I wish we'd been told this sooner and explored how it affects like the lives of regular people, but of course, not in this book. There are entire forests east of the Blacklands that are nothing more than a sea of flimsy twigs. You did good, he says. Really? Because I feel like I did nothing. I'm here to confirm you did do nothing. That whole scene was a nothing scene. The objective was to ask for the job, to make content. You weren't, make content like I'm doing right now. Make contact. You weren't going to get that job tonight, Ren. Shen is not an idiot. She's not going to invite a random woman off the street into her inner circle. Oh. And I'm like, why would Ren even assume that she would? Like, that feels like common sense, of course. Whatever. She's like, yeah, you're right. Say that again. You're right. I want to hear it again. Never, I vow. You're a dangerous woman, he murmurs. I think you're the dangerous one. I am, especially right now. Boo! Boo! Loser behavior. Don't care. Not sexy. What's so special about right now? your dress, those eyes, that body rubbing up on me all night, teasing me. Seems like you were the one doing the rubbing and the teasing. You liked it. Have you ever met a guy who is objectively hot but then opens his mouth? I feel like that's cross-redden. I was picturing Jordan from Copper the entire time, he says. Too bad you won't be able to see him anymore. Jordan was dispatched on a last-minute assignment headed for Red Post. Who knows when he'll return? That post could last a few months, years even. You sent him away? Yes. Why? Because he touched you this morning. I'm not supposed to be attracted to men like this. Progressive. What? Progressive? Rachel, that says possessive. Progressive? Oh, dyslexia. Cocky, ruthless. Yet the notion that I'd succeeded in triggering his jealousy sends a thrill shooting through me. Girl, he is a fascist. Girl, sweetie, honey. Hey, have we lost the brain cells altogether? You were jealous. Yes, it's not an emotion I enjoy. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're right, I'm not. Oh, aren't they fun and cute together? So he's looking at her boobs, of course he is. I like the way he looks at me. I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it. Get some help. Find some. Anywhere. Darlington, I'm so hot for you, I can't think straight anymore. Start thinking gay. I think I'd like that, but I think I'd like that book a lot better. I thought you don't get involved with recruits. I don't. I've never jeopardized my post to fuck around. I don't get jealous of low-level asswits from Copper. I wanted to tear his hand off for touching you. I want to rip Sutler's eyes out for looking at you. It took me a minute to remember who the fuck Sutler was, but that's her friend Kane, who she almost fucked that one time. And then she remembers the one time when she broke into his quarters and he was with some other girl. She's like, maybe it's better to just get this out of our system. Once. Once what? I'm gonna let you have it once. One time. Right here. Right now. And then I walk out the door and it's over. It's out of our system. It doesn't happen again. Great plan. Very strategic. I feel like this could go nowhere but good places. He stalks towards me, pushing my thighs open so he can step between them and brings his body flush to mine. He thrusts his hand in my hair and tugs on the brown strands. Thank you for remembering to tell me that her hair is brown. In this moment, I couldn't recall, and I was like, the strands. What color are the strands? Brown. Tips her head back. His hands aren't idle while he destroys me with his lips. Oh, well, idle hands make devil's work. He tells her, tell me not to stop, which normally it's the opposite, so I guess at least it's not like, tell me to stop, but even if you tell me to stop, at a certain point I won't be able to stop, which is just so blech. Instantly detracting stars if a book says that. Don't stop, I whisper. He bends her over. I wanted this from the second you were underneath me at the end. He grinds himself against her. I should have taken you then. I wasn't yours for the taking. Yes, you were. If I did this, he puts his hand between her legs. Would you have stopped me or would you have begged for more? I mean, well, you were a stranger. However, if we take into account her record, you fuck soldiers consistently. She does in fact just fuck hot soldiers for the sake of it. So I guess so. However, recalling the beginning of the book, she just locked eyes with this guy and decided he was an asshole from the jump for absolutely no reason. So I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. Maybe we should have just done that, just skipped right to it. We would have saved ourselves the issue of having all these pages and no world building. I like you like this, bent over at my mercy. Boo! Boo! I hate him. Are there cameras in here? No, but goddamn do I wish there were. You wish there were cameras that you don't control, which would give proof that you're fraternizing, which would lead you to be in trouble. Okay. Undo my pants. I can't even stop laughing for 10 seconds. God, he's exactly what I hoped he would be. Commanding, potent. Potent is certainly a word. She reaches down and grabs his... what euphemism are we using today? Eggplant. Find the thick, throbbing length of him. His gaze lowers to the apex of my thighs. There it is. Who's playing book bingo today? You just got one. He puts his eggplant into her nether regions. His full weight crushing me to the table. See, I know that Rebecca Yarros didn't write this because she always has a piece of furniture break. And at this point, the furniture would have broken. So whoever Danny Francis is, it is not Rebecca Yarros because Rebecca Yarros can't write a sex scene without breaking furniture. For one reckless moment, I'm tempted to open a path and check if his shield is lowered, to find a crack in it and slide in, find out if he's telling the truth, if this feels as good to him as it does to me. But I banish the impulse. I just want to feel. This isn't real, you can make me but I just want to feel. Okay, Buffy. Climax rips through me. I'm coming back from the high, a high so that evaporates so fast it gives me whiplash. What have I done? He's the general's son. Oh, you know who reminded you of this repeatedly? Me. But also yourself, because you've said this multiple times. But okay, sure. There's reckless and then there's this. Yes, there is. And I just want to tell you that there's no room for reckless Ren anymore. Now, at page 135, typically you are reckless or you're strategic. Being both in this particular case of you, that doesn't make sense. I'm not worried about pregnancy. They get yearly injections. Everybody who is a female, of course. I don't know why the males, I mean, we could have male birth control. We need to report to the company when we're interested in starting family. I'm worried about my judgment, my morality, my fucking soul. What the hell, have I done, I suddenly feel sick, and then I feel even worse when he withdraws and another rush of pleasure ripples through my body. Ren, did I hurt you? It can't be that big. Stop. When I walk out the door, this doesn't happen again, so I hope you got it out of your system. Did you? Yes, she didn't. That was a lie, Your Honor. And then it says, ugh, I should take a shower, but I don't want to wash him off me. I can still taste him. Okay. In her instructor notes for the Undercover op, cross-read and said, Darlington has great instincts in the field. When? Follows direction well, but not afraid to take charge when needed. Bossy at times, but knows when to give up the reins. Ha! That's a joke about sex. Great. Anyway, they're in the next chapter, they're doing a exercise called Fallen Soldier. She's paired up with Liddy, her goody two-shoes friend. They do it twice. First, she's going to be the injured soldier, and Liddy will need to get her to safety, and then they switch roles. But she can't concentrate because all I can think about is cross-read and moving inside of me. Great. Good. Okay. Oh, wish I could forget. They don't get out of the exercise in time. There is no way to get out in time, she realizes. And she's the only one failing this because she refuses to leave behind the fallen soldier or be left behind. There has to be a way to pass this without just abandoning your fellow. I'm not surprised when I'm summoned to Cross's office later. You only have one more shot at fallen soldier. Tomorrow's your last chance. I'm not leaving my friends behind. Pair me with Kess, or better yet, Anson. I'll happily dance over his still living body all the way to the end. That's not the point. It's supposed to be easy to leave your partner. What? What? What do you mean? I'm surprised you haven't figured out by now what matters to me. And what matters to her? Loyalty. How can a military even pretend to function without loyalty to each other? This is the same question I asked about Rebecca Yarros' military. I don't understand. If you don't have that camaraderie, you don't have a reason to keep each other alive, and it all kind of fucking falls apart. But this is just here so that we can set it up so that the main character is the only person who thinks about other people, and everybody else is just out for themselves. This is really lazy. It's a really lazy way to write. It's so that like everything else doesn't make sense just so that the main character looks good. It's just lazy. We're not here training to be fake. I'm thinking about what I would really do if I was facing this situation in real life. Yeah, as you should be. That's what the training is for. So I don't understand why the military would want you to be taught to leave your fellows behind. Like, to what end? I know I would never leave a fellow behind. Not when I cared about or respected. I know you believe compassion is weakness. It is weakness, and in this scenario, it gets you killed. Then I die with a friend. I think your confidence is misplaced. Your perceived sense of honor. I think it's easy to take a stand right now because the danger to your life is simulated, but you might make a very different choice when your life is truly at risk, when self-preservation kicks in. I'll run your drill again tomorrow, but I can't see myself making a different choice. Even if it means failing out, I'm like, oh my God, you are supposed to be a strategist! It's a fake drill! Like, let's put aside the fact that it doesn't make sense for the military to train them to do this, right? It's a fake drill. You should want to do anything you have to, be whoever you have to, in order to get into Silver Elite and do what the uprising asks. I don't know what matters to you. Looking good, your perceived sense of righteousness is what matters to you. Certainly not strategizing for the long term. Like, if you fail and don't make it into Silver Elite, this was all for nothing. Who fucking cares if you have to leave your friend behind in a simulation? What are we talking about? Oh, but I also promised Adrian in the uprising that I would get into Elite. Is one silly drill worth risking my place in the program? No! And I can't believe we're even having this conversation. A strategist would have already thought about this and made a plan. Maybe I do need to set my principles aside and compromise my sense of honor. Oh, brother. Strategist my ass. She asks, are we done here? He says, no, I think about you before I go to sleep. This man is deep in it. And she's like, oh, I don't think about you at all. I'm not used to this, being the one out of control. I'm not used to being the one in control. And he hears her laugh for the first time, and he's like really into her, which would be cute if he wasn't, you know, a fascist. He asked her to reconsider the stance of them not sleeping together more than once, and she's like, no, let's just stick to the plan, which is odd for me because I'm like, what's stopping you now? You boink soldiers regularly. That's how we opened this book. And instead of making her actually pass the test, he just fakes the score so that she can pass without actually having to do the simulation and leave her friend behind. Wonder how he'll explain that one to the instructors. Okay, kindness is weakness, huh? What does that make him then? A small voice in the back of my mind whispers, it could never work. Our loyalties can never be reconciled. True! That shouldn't be the small voice, that should be the loud voice. It scares me every time his lips are on mine. I can't bring myself to care about that. Me too, bitch. I am scared. I'm frightened. Then at the nighttime when she's asleep, she gets yanked out of bed, somebody sticks a needle in her neck, and when she wakes up, she's on a floor that feels like it's made of metal and is covered with dirt. She's in a room with Ivy, which is Cross's ex, and Ro, which is Cross's brother. What a great lineup. This is resistance to interrogation. So basically it's SEER. This was also sort of in Fourth Wing. SEER training is a United States military training that they teach you what to do when you're being interrogated, essentially. And they like fake a kidnapping, and then you sit in a room and you go through all, like in the middle of class, you get like fake kidnapped, and then you get interrogated, and you have to use all the things that you learn in the class in your fake interrogation. So Ro is making fun, Cross's brother is making fun of Ivy, Cross's ex, for going to pathetic lengths to try to win Cross back. You wasted your time. He was never going to stay. Yeah, why is that? Ivy says. Because you loved him too much. He doesn't want to be loved that hard. Ivy's already been through this program, so she knows what to expect. Ro knows what to expect because both his brothers are in the military, and Travis, who's their oldest brother, crosses in the middle. Travis, the oldest brother, has prepared him for what to expect. So they're going to be living in this metal box for 5 days. They pull you out every few hours or so, ask you to reveal something about command. Then they throw you back in here. No food, no water, no light, no sleep. Dang, I have a note that I wrote down here where I said, if this is SEER, then they could have faked being resistance. Oh, I remember. Okay, so what I was saying is what they could have done in SEER training, they pretend to be like a different entity, not the United States military, that comes and kidnaps you. And this could have been like the uprising or a different country. Like they could have pretended to be the uprising or a different country, but instead they're just like, reveal something about command, but we don't go into any detail about like who they're pretending to be, how this works. Like you're not even like engaging in like a simulation. I lean my head back and prepare myself for what sounds like the worst party I've ever been to, with the worst guest list known to humankind. Girl, that includes you. So what they were told was you need to just repeat the same information. Your name, your recruit number, and what block you're a part of. They have to live in this train car, all three of them, they're in a train car by the way, for 5 days. Basically don't have any like real water, everything, it's like they turn sprinklers on and everything gets turned to mud. You don't really get to sleep because again, they're turning sprinklers on. And when you have to go to the bathroom, you are going to the bathroom in the middle of this train car in front of other people. But if you do drink the muddy water, you're gonna get diarrhea, which is what happens to Ro. There's no camaraderie among our trio. We're not bonding, swapping stories. We're wet, cold, hungry, tired, thirsty, and pissed off. Oh, I'm shocked. She taps into Ivy's mind. Don't forget she's a mind reader, even though it rarely comes up because mostly we're just talking about how hot Cross is. Ivy, Cross's ex, she learns wanted to join Silver Block for her older sister Delia, who died of a rare bone cancer that they have regeneration chambers. The rich people have access to them. The regeneration chambers in the point couldn't even eradicate. And I'm like, wait, but aren't they trying to like make those things so that like the general will live longer, but it can't treat bone cancer? I don't know, I'm confused. She tries to mind read Ro, but his shield is too strong and she's too tired anyway. She learns that the reason why Ivy failed Silver Block, like Silver Elite training the first time is because of this. It was specifically because of this that she failed, and so she's trying to succeed this time. She asked them about, she asked Ivy about what it's like growing up in K district, which is where Ivy's from. It used to be better. The controllers were nicer, gave us more leeway, but after K merged with L, their ward chairman took over. It happens often, the rezoning, which sounds like redistricting, which is like, you know, something very interesting that I think we could have had like more of a conversation on, how power of like individual people and like small local power gets taken away by redistricting, which is something that a lot of the United States is dealing with right now. This happens a lot in like local school board elections. Some were integrated with their neighbors because of population decline, but most wards were swallowed up by natural disasters as the coastline slowly tries to eat its way onto the continent. The seawalls the general has the company engineers tackling won't hold it forever. It's the district that Ivy comes from is very close to the Blacklands, which I still don't fully understand what those are. It just sounds like the fucking forest from The Princess Bride, but okay. Ren used to live there. So she asked Ivy, did you ever go to the Blacklands since you were so close? No. I don't know anyone who's gone in there and come out alive, which is weird phrasing. We're just going to move on for the sake of time. And it explains that there's something wrong with the way the light reflects in the Blacklands as if it just doesn't. Everything is black always. Jim and I learned that lesson when he tried to bring various light sources on our hunting excursions. Flashlights didn't work, torches, even his lighter. It was fascinating to me. She does talk to Ro, the shitty younger brother of Cross, since, you know, they're stuck in a train car together. He says that he really likes his brother Travis and that Travis is practical and calculating. He's got a scientific mind. He doesn't rely on emotion like Cross. And he says, you know, nobody knows my brothers like I do. Nobody knows what they're like. And then he shits on Cross's mom because Cross's mom, Vanessa, is not nice to him because he's not her son. I could never understand why she hated me so much. Sure, my mother worked in human services, but it wasn't mom's fault the general developed a liking for her. Wasn't her fault when he knocked her up. Birth control wasn't even mandatory back then. He's the one who couldn't keep it in his pants. So they pass through these 5 days. She, of course, is helping Ivy get through it so that she passes this time because Ren is nothing but a good soul. Oh, I just covered my mic, sorry. First thing I do when I get back is take a hot shower. It lasts 2 hours. Oh man, I wish I was doing that right now. Instead of reading this, everybody else gets granted leisure passes for 2 days after this, but not her. She still gets treated like shit because reasons. I don't know. She talks to her friend Tana back home, and Tana says that the soldier presence is still really heavy back at home. Meanwhile, they're also supposed to get their scores from the program today to find out if they are making it into Silver Block and Silver Elite. I don't know whether my poor performance from the first few sections will come back to haunt me. It won't, because there are no consequences for anything that this character does. And of course, she does in fact make it into Silver Block, and then she finds out that she has to do an additional test for Silver Elite. So did her friend Kane. 12 of the 25 recruits made the shortlist. Ro, Cross's brother, did not make the shortlist to make it into, I think, Silver Squad at all. Oh wait, no, he did. He did get, the general gets his way, and Ro does get into Silver Block. But he wasn't shortlisted for Silver Elite. They are going to have like a party to celebrate the fact that they are, they made it into Silver Block. And she puts on a dress thinking that she wants Cross to see her in it. Her friend Kane comes on to her again, and they had like some chemistry before. He's like, we should go back to the barracks, they're gonna be empty. And she's like, a week or two ago I would have been tempted, but now I know what it's like to have Cross naked and groaning in my ear. And I'm like, oh yep, he's ruined her for other men, great. And it suddenly becomes apparent to her, I've forgotten why I'm here. What am I doing? This is not my life. I shouldn't be donning sexy dresses and celebrating with primes. They're not my friends. These aren't my people, and I'm not one of them. And then this is when she runs into Cross, and immediately she's like, one more time won't be the end of the world, will it? Strategic? Where? He literally growls in her ear, I want it. Meow, come and get it, baby. He could take me right here. Hell, he could take me out there in front of everyone and I wouldn't care. You just said that none of these people are your friend. Okay. They don't get a chance to do anything though, because Ro is calling Cross out and saying, hey, I want to fight. And apparently he's on stims, which are drugs, and he's always on stims. So of course Cross kicks his ass and then says, consider this your education. Ro calls him an asshole. In the next chapter, it says that there are 6 slots available for spots in Silver Elite. 2 of you are going to walk into a room and only 1 will walk out. Cross says that they don't have to kill each other. It's just that only one can leave. If you tap out, you're still a member of Silver Block, but you're not going to be Silver Elite. She gets paired up with a girl named Bryce, who is really obsessed with like impressing her father. Bryce is like, I am going to be joining Silver Elite or I'm going to be dead. There is no other option for me. And Ren's like, I could take this girl. I don't want to kill her. She needs to just tap out. Bryce refuses to tap out. She ends up stabbing Bryce in the leg to try to get her to stop, but she accidentally, because she's so strategic, hits her femoral artery and Bryce bleeds out. And after this, Bryce's dad literally comes up and just like nods at her as if nothing's like wrong with having his daughter murdered in front of him. But all right. Kane, her friend, also makes it. And he's like, you didn't have a choice. She was going to kill you. And he's like, she thinks that she's the only murderer in the bunch. Everybody else like tapped out. Cross tries to talk to her. She says, fuck you. I did this. I chose to kill her. I could have said screw Elite. So she reaches out to the Uprising. Adrian is her contact. She's like, hey, I'm in Silver Elite. Excellent. We'll be in touch. That's it. Excellent. We'll be in touch. A woman's life in exchange for 2 sentences, 5 words. Bryce was an entitled brat, but she didn't deserve to die. Anyways, we just move on from this. And then she gets put up in her new quarters. She unpacks. Cross shows up at her dorm and says, are you going to tell me to fuck off again? No. Are you going to tell me you got me out of your system? I shake my head. Good. Are you still thinking about what happened? Yes. I'll make you forget. So he kneels down. She says, I like seeing you kneel. And he says, this is the only context in which you'll ever see me doing it, so enjoy it while you can. He's relentless, attentive, thorough. He brings his finger to my opening and finds me slick for him. Both the words opening and slick are on my no-no list. We need to get like a physical list of all the nope words so I can just write it down. And he says to her that previously, I told you I wanted you to find a way to control yourself. Do you remember? I don't want that right now. You want me to lose control? Cede control to me. Give me what I want. Can you do that? Ugh. So she arrives and then he pulls down his pants. His eggplant springs out. He's given me a arrival, yet he hasn't even kissed me. He says, you're all I think about. And then it says the bed shakes as he me. This is just so ridiculous. I don't care. They're holding each other afterwards, and she says that she shouldn't set a precedent for holding each other after boinking, but I'm too winded to move, too blissed out. The scrape of calluses against my shoulder blade. It's a little too addictive. Girl, I don't understand you. She talks to him about work. They're talking about work in bed, and I'm like, what? Don't set that precedent. That's a bad precedent. Unless you're strategizing, which you're not. If the whole point was to get into bed with him to get information out of him with which to funnel then to the uprising, then sure, but it's not. She complains that he let Anson, which is Rose's friend who is a bad dude, into Elite. You realize he's a soulless psycho, right? Well aware, but he moves like a shadow and kills with no remorse. Is that what you want him to do? Kill for you without remorse? Among other things, everyone was chosen for their own strengths, what I think they'll bring to the unit. This should be a huge red flag. This should be a huge red flag that he would know that somebody is a really bad person and let them into the unit hoping that they would kill for him. And she just breezes right past this. What? And then later when we have the conversation about he's like, I've never killed anybody. You let somebody into the unit because you knew that they would kill with no remorse. And we never bring this back up. Okay. I figured Elite was responsible for assassinations, but his confirmation makes me uneasy. I wonder how many people cross his orders to be killed, how many times he's followed orders to do the general's bidding. I guess none himself, but he's been involved, and then we just don't talk about this later? Are you going to tell me you got me out of your system again? No. And they talk about the fact that they can't trust each other with anything else other than their bodies, which like, yeah, duh. And also it has to stay between them because she is still his subordinate and you're not supposed to fraternize if you're a CO. Ivy, his ex, sees him leaving her room and they're like, uh-oh, oopsie doopsie. Okay, so in their work in Silver Elite, they start looking into this guy, Jasper Reed. Now, I don't really know how big Silver Elite is or if this is like an ongoing thing. Does Silver Elite get new recruits every year? Do they phase out old recruits? What's like the kill-off rate? You know, are they dying? The Uprising wouldn't be doing that because they very rarely kill anybody. So like, I don't know what the like exchange is. How long until they have to retire? How long can they be in Silver Elite? Do they ever get demoted? I don't know any of the answers to these questions. What I do know is they start looking into Jasper Reed. Reed is a smuggler with fingers in every criminal pie in the point. The bulk of his operation involves drug running. used to bring opiates in from TRFA. If you recall, I complained about the TRFA thing in the last video. But we crushed that avenue last year, yet the drugs keep flowing. We suspect they've set up a lab somewhere in the wards. Nothing comes of this in this book, so maybe they'll do something else in the next book. Reed's other favorite pastime is smuggling supplies out of the point and trading with the faithful. So Anson, the evil guy who got accepted into Silver Elite, said, why can't we just eliminate him? Cutting off one head won't kill the beast. There are others waiting in the wings ready to step up and take Reed's place. Now, I don't know who this is referring to. We don't really know about Reed's operation. We just hear about Reed. We need to dismantle Reed's operation piece by piece. She then learns that there's another silver block operation, not Silver Elite, but just general silver block, that has to do with going back to Hamlet, which is her city that she's from. Her ranch was in Hamlet. Cross says no. She said, but it's my ward. My friends are there. If your friends aren't part of an uprising cell, then they should have nothing to worry about. We've been watching Hamlet for 6 months. Suddenly it dawns on me that's why Cross was there that night. He wasn't celebrating Liberty Day. He was on elite business. So she then tells the uprising her contact, which is Adrian. They've assigned me to a smuggler named Jasper Reed. I'm supposed to go to Ward C, track down where Reed stashes stolen medical supplies he gives to the faithful. The faithful are people who live by like the old era or something. I don't know. They don't really actually come up in this book, so I don't know what they are. I don't really know. Adrian's like, have fun. Reed's a pain in the ass. We'd like nothing more than to tie him to a rocket ship and launch him into the sun. My question is, do they have rocket ships in this version of the United States? I mean, it's not the United States anymore, but do they have them? So Ren says, well, they're also running another mission in Hamlet and you need to warn Griff and Tana. Cross just assigned 2 elites to join him on a mission there. He wouldn't give me the details. She's like, well, I can warn Tana myself if you're not going to. And Adrian says, you no longer owe loyalty to anyone but the uprising. If we decide the information needs to go elsewhere, then we will be the ones to approve it. She does not listen to this. She doesn't listen to anything, which is fine. It's just, I don't know. I don't really understand the decisions that she makes. Talking about Jasper Reed, the smuggler, again, it says, there's nothing more dangerous than a person whose loyalties shift like the wind. Girl, call is coming from inside your own house. It's also interesting that his network is smuggling supplies to the lawless lands. Most citizens don't care one way or another whether the faithful survive. And she turns to her friend Kane and says, do you ever feel bad for them? I can't stop the question. So this is another example of you being impulsive in a way that does not make sense for somebody who calls themselves a strategist to be. They just want to be left alone. Sometimes I wonder if it's fair for us to impose the general's idea of society on them. Kane, her friend, frowns and says that's not for us to decide. Our duty is to follow orders. They're just trying to live free. They're stealing from the company. So I just want to point out to you that Kane, we come to find out later, is also working for the uprising. Now that's 2 people who have been working for the uprising that she's come into contact with, Batima and Kane. The only way that this could be excused, her doing this in front of other people, knowing how much of a red flag that is to have a dissenting opinion amongst a bunch of fascists, the only way that it would be acceptable to me is if we got to the end of this book and she said, oh my God, everybody's a whole lot better at this than I am. We don't do that. She's just really bad at it, and she's doing things that are really stupid and really dangerous, and the only reason it's done is to make her look good. She's too old to be acting like this. She's too experienced with the dangerous people, the country that she lives in, to be acting like this. It doesn't make sense, and she's in the most dangerous place because this is Silver Elite. Who more is going to turn on you or turn you in than Silver Elite? Why would you say these things in front of Silver Elite? So they go to a different ward and they notice that the hospital in the ward is dealing with a classism issue, where in the point where they live, where Silver Elite lives and all the other, military stuff, they have regeneration chambers, 2 of them. I don't know why they only have 2. I don't know if it's a resource issue or what. Here, it's like they're using old barbaric, old era medicine. Sorry, it doesn't say old twice. That was my dyslexia. Offering rudimentary heart transplants when they could be growing a new heart in a lab, but to the company, these people aren't worth it. And we just gloss over this classism issue, I guess. Apparently, Jasper Reed is moving his contraband through this hospital. Nothing comes of this. We hear that workers are helping stash supplies in the basement, but when she goes down there, she doesn't find the supplies. She doesn't learn anything. We're just here. It's just like the covert ops thing, to have something else happen that affects our main character, that incentivizes her to think a specific thing or do a specific thing. So like previously with the covert op, it was to make her horny enough to actually sleep with Cross. In this case, it's to make her more afraid of the government. And then Jasper Reed just sort of like that whole op just falls off the map completely in this book, and we like never see it again. So she tells her commanding officer on comms, hey, there's people in here. He's like, we're not looking for people, we're looking for supplies. They're in the basement of this hospital. She sees through a door that there are people strapped to hospital beds, restrained by leather cuffs on their wrists. She pulls open the door. She goes inside. I forget my objective, the mission. You are really bad at this. You are really terrible at this. The right thing for you to do would be to relay this information to the uprising immediately, and if you really wanted to investigate, then say you see something, go look, say nothing, gather all the intel that you can, and then do something with it later. Stay on task. Don't put a target on yourself. That's all she ever does. It's exhausting. So modifieds, when they're found out, they get like a tattooed black band on their arm, and if they are a slave, they get a red band on top of that, like in addition to. There's no red band people in here. She notices that they're veins because if you are a modified, then like all the people in this basement are modified. There's like 20. Some of them are walking around, which is interesting because she was able to walk in, so I don't know why they can't just walk out, but okay. She notices that there's a freezer, a wall of cabinets, and their veins are like flashing, flickering. And you recall that if you are a modified, then typically your veins glow silver when you're using your power, which is how they identify you, which is why some people like wear long sleeves. Again, I don't know why they don't ban long sleeves. So she's thinking, what if I'd ended up in a place like this? Why are they in a place like this? Mental illness isn't tolerated in the continent. The general considers treating it a waste. If he doesn't tolerate it in primes, who are unmodified people, then why would he keep modified people alive in a hospital ward if they're dealing with mental illness, if this is mental illness? And then she realizes that there's a bunch of blood vials and that these people are being experimented on. A tsunami of horror slams into me. She's like, they're experimenting on these people. Xavier says, it's none of my god fucking business. We're here on an op. Let's go, Darlington. Again, this is red flag behavior. You are making it so obvious that you are dissenting to like the regime. You would need to fall in line, never put a target on yourself, but you're not strategic, so you don't care about stuff like that. As I race to the door, I pray to a god I'm not allowed to believe in that this never happens to me. She talks to, in her head, the uprising contact, Adrian, who says, yeah, we know there are places like that all over the continent. This isn't anything new. Not everyone can cope with the gifts we've been given. So that gives the general the right to experiment on them? Of course not. I want to kill that man. Control yourself. You are not there to be the fire that burns down the world. You're just a piece of kindling. And like a smart and strategic person would be like, all right, what's the best move for me to do the most amount of good here? But this is not a smart and strategic person. Like, I'm not saying that a lot of the decisions you're going to make when you're doing an uprising against a regime of this kind, you're going to have, like, think about Andor. Think about all the things that they couldn't do, all the people that they couldn't save. Yeah, they're going to go home and they're going to cry about it and they're going to feel awful about it and they're going to be broken up about it, but you literally can't save everyone in against a regime like that. And like being this impulsive is just going to get more people killed. And like that would scare me. And I just have a hard time believing that like she hasn't thought about that or hasn't had that conversation with her uncle about the uprising or anybody else she knows that's involved in it. Adrian also lets her know that the investigation into her uncle Jim's execution has stalled, and she's confused like this, but like what is there to investigate? They're like, well, we heard that there's an insider, which means a person with powers who can force you to do something, if you recall. So she actually incited the executioners to move their guns, but then at the last minute she like lost control, what little control she had, and she accidentally caused them to shoot her uncle instead of themselves. So she continues to lie and say, it wasn't me, I didn't see anybody. And Adrian's like, well, we keep a record of all known insiders, and Julian reported your gifts when you manifested, and he didn't report that you were an insider. But like, they should know that he didn't fully trust them, so of course he wouldn't report correctly, unless he was lying to them, in which case he would have told Ren, hey, don't trust anybody completely. Never lay your full hand out, always have a long-term plan, always have like your main goal in mind and make all of your plans based on that. Don't be impulsive. But in fact, she is impulsive. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's a frustrating read because It would be so good if we had a main character who was actually strategic, had a long-term goal and a long-term plan, and was more of like a Cassian Andor situation. Sure, sometimes Cassian Andor could be impulsive and go against the uprising, but like his actions made a lot of sense coming from where he was coming from. So Cross requests backup, and if you recall, he's in Hamlet, which is her territory. She goes back to Hamlet. She's like, wow, the square looks so tiny now. Hamlet feels smaller now, insignificant. And I'm like, what a strange thing to say about the place that is being taken over by the elite squad of soldiers who you bone and also hate and are working for the regime. Anyway, so she's asked, how well do you know Griff Archer, which is her best friend Tana's father? They're like, we need to break him. We've been questioning him all day. He and Tana tried to run. They managed to dodge our surveillance a few nights ago and somehow made it out of Z without detection. Last night they were stopped at a checkpoint in S. Archer tried to mow down 2 copper soldiers with his truck. We brought them both back to Z for questioning. I don't know why they brought them back to Z for questioning and didn't just keep them in S, but okay. She's like, this is my fault. I'm the one who warned them. True, you are really bad at this consistently. We believe they got out using a tunnel. We've been searching, even conducted several flybys with thermal imaging. Couldn't find a single heat signature below ground. And she thinks to herself, yeah, because the entire tunnel is reinforced with steel, thermal imaging can't see through metal. And I'm like, so you have tunnels reinforced with steel that will not show up on radar that the regime has. And instead of just staying in them, you use them to leave and then get stopped at a checkpoint and get caught. Why not just stay in the tunnels that they can't find? I don't know. I don't know why we do the things that we do. And of course, Anson, despite the fact that Cross knows that he's a bad person, is on duty watching Tana. What a choice. What a guy. She doesn't get mad at him about this, but wow, I would be. She's like, let me talk to him. If there's tunnels, I could get the answers out of him. Cross says we can use the daughter to use her as leverage to make him talk. You're not using my friend as leverage. These people are part of an uprising cell. These are not your friends. If you're right and they're working for an enemy, I can get them to talk. Like, this conversation would have made me hate him. I don't know how she ever fucked him again. Ren's like, if we promise that his daughter will be safe, then he'll tell me whatever you want, you need. And Xavier, who's Cross's friend, is like, who says she's going to be safe? They're going to end up at the tribunal for sentencing. She's like, Cross, can you talk to your dad and promise that they won't face the firing squad? I'll be able to get, we'll be able to like make a deal. She goes and talks to Tana's dad. She is explaining that there's this deal when all of a sudden Tana links with her and says, Ren, I need you, which is really weird and convenient that she just happened to go straight to Ren instead of contacting like somebody at the uprising, but okay, or somebody closer by. Thank goodness Ren just happens to be in town. So she walks out of the cell where they're holding Tana's father and she's like, you have to confirm the deal, Cross. I don't think he'll trust me about it. Anyway, I gotta go get some coffee. Bye. She runs to where Tana is and finds that Tana has killed Anson, the Silver Elite guy who she thinks is a Book's Words psychopath. She's like, okay, you didn't kill him. I killed him. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use his gun. We're gonna use my gun. We're going to shoot a bullet into the wall. We're going to pretend that he shot at me first and then I killed him and you had nothing to do with it. And they're just immediately going to believe me, which they do. And she does all this especially because Anson had assaulted Tana. It's like it's alluding that Tana had been sexually assaulted by Anson. So she's like, my story's going to be, I left the station to check on Tana, couldn't bear the thought of her being detained, walked into the room, found Anson assaulting her. When he saw me, he fired. He missed. Bullet struck the door. I fired back. Kill shot. The only good thing about the general system of justice is that no one will dig too deeply into it. Suspected criminals aren't given the benefit of the doubt, and there's no time or resources for lengthy, drawn-out investigations. What? What do you mean? What? Wouldn't you be a suspected criminal? Your uncle was like put under firing squad and then you were investigated for possible incitement, but people are just gonna believe that Anson was okay? He's literally like Roe's friend and there's no consequences for this. Like, Roe doesn't do anything about Anson being dead. Like, if anything, Roe could have been like, I want that investigated. That sounds ridiculous. I hate that my friend's dead, but nope, Roe just never gets brought up. He's just, I guess, fine with his friend having been killed by somebody that he doesn't like. Sure. Okay, what do you mean there's no time or resources for lengthy, drawn-out investigations? It's one of Silver Elite that got killed. wouldn't that be the person, like wouldn't that of all people be the people that gets a lengthy drawn out investigation? This just feels like how do I make this make sense? We'll just throw that out there. It doesn't make sense. All I need is for Cross to take my word for what happened. She contacts him on her comm and says, hey, I killed Anson. He doesn't buy it, but his eyes soften when he sees the state of Tana's dress, so he knows that she was assaulted. Tana's dad gets taken to a mine in Ward D. He's been sentenced to labor, and he's like, Tana, you're going to be serving a prison sentence in a labor camp in Ward X. Tana is really upset about this, and she's like, how could you do this? And she's like, I'll find a way to get you out, I promise. But it's clear that Tana feels very betrayed. When they return to base, it says that Tana won't really link with Ren anymore. Ren stares at her reflection and says, who the fuck are you? The Ren from a couple months ago would have fought to the death to save her friend. And I'm just like, what other options were there though? Like, what do you mean fought to the death? So you would have died in vain. And she does think to herself, I worked my ass off to make it to elite, and fighting for Tana would have meant destroying the solid cover I'd built, the trust I'd earned. Solid cover? I don't know about that. She thinks that she's done as much as she was able to for Tana and her father. How will it serve the network if I'm at a labor camp shoveling salt or coal alongside them? I can do more good here, Undercover and Silver Elite. And so I continue to stare in the mirror into the yellow gold eyes and bronze skin I'm told I inherited from my mother. I'm like, oh boy, not the bronze skin. Listen, I feel like we could have had this conversation earlier about I could do the most good, how? Instead, we're just like winging it, which again, doesn't scream strategic to me. Like the only reason you even got into Silver Elite was because you didn't do jack shit for the first 3 weeks as stated. And then when you were supposed to simply leave another soldier behind in like a simulation, you couldn't do it, and he faked your score with no consequences to you or to him. Cross shows up in her room and he goes into the shower with her and he holds her while she's like obviously upset. You're going to have to stop lying to me one of these days. I didn't lie about anything. He hurt her. And she thinks to herself, there's nobody left. Jim, Tana, Griff, even Batima. I'm all out of lies. I'm all alone. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. 2 months passes. She barely hears from Tana. Of course she doesn't. But it's okay because Tana is in a prison where they get leisure time. The food seems decent. And a gilded, and she's okay, but a gilded cage is still a cage, and I put her there. And she's thinking, I need to do whatever the uprising asked me to do, or else this was all for nothing. I need to make it worth it. I'm completely alone, except I'm not alone. I have Kane, Liddy, Cross. Yes, I definitely have Cross, almost every night. He's an addiction I can't conquer. Oh my God. Okay, so you're not alone then. When I'm in bed with Cross, it's the only time I'm able to shut my brain off and just feel. But I just wanna feel. I don't have to think about how I'm surrounded by primes all day, every day. To you, Cross is a prime. So when you're underneath him, you are still surrounded by a prime in a very literal way. But okay. One of the perks of being in an elite unit is that we don't follow a set schedule. Okay, that's all right. Sure. Yeah, that's, I guess no, that doesn't make any sense. I can sleep when I want, go to the mess hall when I want, stroll into the war room when I want. It's not locked. It never is. It's not as if they expect any of us to be actively plotting against each other. What? This is so stupid. So she goes to the war room whenever the fuck she wants. She pulls up a map. She can project the things that she sees into somebody else's brain. So she looks at the map and finds all of like the caches, like the weapons stashes and like different like planes and stuff, and projects it to her contact in the uprising, Adrian. And then Colonel Travis Redden, which is Cross's older brother, enters the war room. I pick up on a hint of cruelty in Travis. The same way I think Cross can kill without batting an eye, this man can too, only Travis would enjoy it. You can tell that by just looking at him? Okay, you're not his usual type. Whose? My brother's. I'm not with your brother. But she's thinking to herself, I'm actually hopelessly infatuated with Cross Redden. Great, cool. She leaves, runs into Cross. She's like, hey, your brother's waiting. And he's like, right, I'm supposed to discuss the security issues for Silver Jubilee, which is another party. And he's like, be waiting for me in bed. I know I should say no, but we both know I'll be waiting. Oh, great. Perfect. After this, she's like, I actually need, so she's reminded that they need to start shopping for their Jubilee dresses, which of course they do. She thinks to herself, who wants to celebrate 25 years of that man's iron fist up our asses? Everyone here. right. Sometimes I forget that I'm surrounded by primes who actually like and respect General Redden. And I'm like, you just said, same chapter. When I'm in bed with Cross, it's the only time I'm able to shut off my brain and just feel I don't have to think about how I'm surrounded by primes all day, every day. And now it's like, oh, I forgot I'm surrounded by primes. I thought you could only do that when you're underneath Cross or like hopping up and down on his okay, sure. She thinks about the fact that she doesn't want to sleep with Kane even though he's like flirting with her. And it says, in an alternate reality, he and I would be finishing what we started the night Batima died, multiple times a day, no doubt. But in this reality, I've been caught under Cross Redden's spell. No matter how much I fight it, I can't stay away from him. Well, that just screams strategic to me. So at the war room, they are called into a meeting where they learned that the uprising bombed one of their weapons caches. And she's like, oh my God, I did this. I gave them the coordinates that led to this. They used something called a sugar bomb. There was a process developed to extract and refine natural sugars into a compound that releases immense amounts of stored energy upon detonation, comparable to the atomic bombs they used in the last war, not in scale but intensity, but no radiation. Nobody got hurt though, and they barely made like enough damage to really have an impact. And they're like, I guess their hotshot pilot must be losing his touch. Somebody says, I bet it was some rookie because from what I've heard, the famous pilot of theirs never misses. We need to figure out how they found that cache, and it never comes up that like that information could have come directly from Silver Elite. And they never do anything with it. They never find out how like they found the weapons. Like they never find out because they never investigate it. And like this entire regime could be brought down just by like a couple of people infiltrating Silver Elite. And they are? And I don't know. This is just stupid. Seeing how hard everybody had to work in Andor to bring down, like, to even like get a little bit out of the armor of the Empire. It was so much work, and for this it's just like nothing. It's nothing. It's just nothing. I'm losing my mind. And she thinks there's something incredibly thrilling about the notion that I helped create chaos. You shallow bitch. You care about the chaos? Like, okay, sure. And instead of learning anything, you know, that we actually need to know, it lets us know that Tierra Fe is in fact somewhere in South America, because it says, she gets a cup of coffee from the mess hall. I refuse to let a drop go to waste. The stuff here on base uses real coffee beans from Tierra Fe. The one export I hope never runs out, which is a valid fear given how it's no secret the trade treaty between the continent and our southern neighbors has been on shaky ground for years. At least it prevented a war though. Tierra Fe almost waged another one on us. They thought we were demons from hell, and a religious war nearly broke out among the remaining continents. It was the continent's ruler at the time who managed to thwart it. Oh yeah, thank goodness for the continent managing to thwart the war with the Tierra Fe people. A prime, so a not, no power person, who assured Tierra Fe's leadership that the aberrant powered person would be contained, and contain them he did. The thought of those early aberrant asylums reminds me of what I saw in that Ward C hospital, a room full of people with fragmented minds. Anyways, then it says that Silver Elite is not as exciting as it's been made out to be. It involves a lot of waiting around, a lot of surveillance. I'd kill for some action right now. Ma'am, you are so stupid and shallow and thoughtless. The last time you saw action, your best friend got sent to a labor camp. You should pray for no action. Anyways, they all get summoned to medical, everybody in Silver Elite. And Ellis, who is a modified guy who works for the regime as a healer, because if you're modified, you have like a range of powers. You can have several of them or just have one. Telepathy is one. She has 4. Ellis's power is healing, and he's like a major good healer, so he works for the regime instead of, being sent to a labor camp or something. So he's walking around like, you have a kidney stone, let me fix that. You have a scrape or something. And then he looks at her and he's like, hey, you have that big ass burn on your leg that's scarring. I could get rid of that. And she's like, no! And here's the thing. If you know that your body is going to get turned into a commodity by the military, like that's just part of the course. So you know that they're going to end up seeing your bits, and you know that the scar on your leg that your uncle did to you to cover up the mark that pops up that says that you're modified, which again, I don't know why they don't constantly search everybody's bodies for that, but that's whatever, we have to let that go. Apparently. I don't understand how you didn't think this was going to happen and you didn't prepare for it. She's like, I can't let him heal me. There's no fucking way I can let him heal me. She's like, I don't want you to get rid of my scarring. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't have an accident as a kid. Yeah, it's ugly, but it's a part of me now. The scars remind me of where I've been, what I've endured. All these scars, not just the burns or memories. I would feel weird without them, so please keep your hands off of me. So this is how she gets around it. And later we just like backtrack this, to her detriment, of course. Later, Cross shows up to her room, slightly drunk, and is like, you got me thinking about scars. I had people get rid of my scars, and I wish I still had them, because then, you know, the scars that my brothers, they ended up hurting me. Maybe I'd remember, and then I wouldn't forget that my brothers are shitty. It's stupid. He's in her bed when she wakes up, and she's noticing that he has a whole sleeve of tattoos, and there's like wings and fire, and also words, and it says, memories of eternal snow, when the wind turns against you, a single second, which sounds like something out of Link's Awakening from Zelda. I'm an obnoxiously curious person. No! You? Oh, that's true. So the fact that I can't make sense of those cryptic words eats at my brain like a worm in an apple. Great. I'm sure you'll make really good decisions based on that. He wakes up and he's like, I didn't sleep much. What kept you up? We'll never fully trust each other, will we? The question takes me by surprise. Bitch, me too. You're too smart to ask a question like that when we both know the answer is no, you can't. But man, imagine how fucking nice that would be. Then she goes down on him. In the back of my mind, I'm unable to shake the nagging feeling that I'm nearing a point of no return with Cross. Well, his eggplant's in your mouth, so yeah. He tells her in the next chapter, hey, we're going off base, you don't have to wear your uniform. He like takes her out in some sort of transport, holds her hand during, my heart is doing ridiculous things in my chest, somersaults, flips, an asinine dance. Oh, brother. She thinks about him. You're my enemy. Your father hates me. You would kill me if you knew who I was. We could never have a future. We will never be together. On some level, I do trust him. Maybe not with my secrets, but I certainly trust him with my body. Anyway, he takes her to a cave full of dagger stone. This is also useless. This like is meaningless. Dagger stone. I remember learning in school how these cave systems began to get discovered about 50 years after the last war. So many things died from the bombing, the radiation, and never grew back. In the Blacklands, I saw hybrid plants that never existed before the war, bears with horns, trees whose roots grew up and outward rather than into the ground. Daggerstone is one of these anomalies. Cavers, I don't know what that means, stumbled upon entire walls of these gemstones shaped like gnarled daggers, pointed and long and shimmering like white fireflies. He's like, I wanted to impress you. I wanted to get you flowers, but I figured this would be better instead. Then he gets like a communication. He's like, we need to go. I don't have time to drop you off at base. I have to go see my mother right now. And she's like, oh, this is the kind of access that the network can only dream of. Actually, they didn't have to dream of it. Or only dream of it. They could have, I mean, this could have been the whole plan, was to stick you there and get you in a position where you would be around Cross Redden and be able to get information out of him. But instead we just stumbled into it. So she meets Cross's mom, and something is wrong with her that reminds her of all of those patients that she saw in that hospital basement. And she doesn't speak, his mom, Vanessa. So she asks, how long has she been like this? He says, catatonic, maybe the last 5 years. Before that, she had to be sedated all the time. She was too violent. The voices that she hears made her angry. She asked, is she aberrant? And he says she's schizophrenic. She was fine for most of my life. It started off so slowly. I think I was around 12 when she started getting irritable, paranoid. She said her thoughts felt scrambled. She was having trouble concentrating, and then one day she said there were voices in her head. She was hearing and seeing things that weren't there. She takes care of herself though, most of the time anyway, gets up, gets dressed, eats the meals that are delivered to her, walks in the garden. She just hasn't said a word since I was 17 years old. And the general, her husband, Vanessa's husband, his father, is, you know, still in love with her. And even though she's not well and he's a eugenicist, he would never allow anybody to euthanize her. And she's like, well, maybe I can help. Like, do you want me to try to feed her? Maybe she'll think I'm a nurse. She'll be receptive to it. He's like, oh, you would do that? So they feed her some soup. She sticks around because he thinks that she's like a calming presence for his mom. She tries to open a path into Vanessa's mind, and a hot stab of pain instantly jolts through my own mind. She's like, something is wrong with that woman's brain, and I can't even get in there. So she looks at the wall. Oh, this is so stupid. good. She looks to the wall. She notices an oil painting of the ocean, and Cross is like, yeah, she grew up in Ward F before the entire ward was flooded. The painting is the town where she grew up, and it's an ocean with a boat on it. I realize I'm staring at a scene that was described to me before many times by Wolf, the friend that she's been telepathically talking to since she was a little kid. There's no way Cross Redden is Wolf. There's no conceivable way. He's not modified, but his mother is, but she doesn't know that for sure. Have you always had insomnia? Or did it start when you joined command or something? Always, I guess, but it's not a big deal. I've never needed much sleep to function. They're back in her room, by the way, when they're having this conversation. I went through a phase where I wasn't sleeping either, she says, but that's because I was having a recurring nightmare. Now, the recurring nightmare is a conversation that her and Wolf have had. What was it? He asks. There's my opening. I steel myself for what I'm about to do. It always starts the same way. I'm swimming in a beautiful cave, exploring, and then I see some sparkling in the water. I can't make out what it is. I swim toward it. I swim deeper. All of a sudden, everything becomes disorienting. I don't know where I am, which way is up. I lose my breath. His hand stills in my hair. I'm trapped in a cave. It's like the entire weight of the ocean is pressing down on me. I'm searching for an escape. His fingers slip out of her hair. The panic sets in. My vision is blurring. Darkness is closing in. There's this sinking sense of dread because I have no choice but to inhale. He moves so fast, I don't see it coming. He has a knife at my throat and he snarls, "Who are you?" She busts out laughing. Deep, gasping, shaking giggles. He blinks in shock, but my laughing fit is uncontrollable. "Who are you? Who told you that story?" And she says, "Can I ask you something? Is your favorite animal still a wolf? Because mine isn't a daisy anymore. My favorite flower, I mean. It was at one point when we lived in the Blacklands, except then wild daisies started taking over the north pasture of the ranch, spreading like a weed, and the cows didn't have enough grass because of those stupid daisies. So it stopped being my favorite flower." She's like, "Your mother's room, her painting, the white hole, the blue stripe, the red flag," because he's explained that painting to her over and over and over, but he said like that's what he's looking at. And what he meant was he was in his mom's house staring at a painting. She thought he was literally at the ocean staring at a boat time after time, but they didn't know anything about each other. I blink and I'm in his arms. They're wrapped tightly around me. I don't know what the fuck is happening. How is this actually happening? "You're modified," I accused. "Does anyone else know? How are you able to keep it a secret?" "I don't know. I guess even at the age of 8, when I was suddenly inside someone else's head, I wisely knew never to reveal it to anyone." Wow, it's almost as if he is actually strategic and she is not. "Nobody in your family knows?" "No, you're the only one." "What gifts do you have?" "Only telepathy, and I don't think I'm very strong. I've only ever done it with you. I have no idea how I managed to connect with your mind all those years ago, but I'm glad I did. It made me feel less alone. My uncle told me it's common for children to form spontaneous links when they're first manifesting their abilities." She lies and says that she only has telepathy too, which is not true. She has a whole bunch of gifts, including incitement, which is rare and really scary. He brings up her uncle's execution and the incitement. She's like, "It wasn't me." For the first time in my life, I'm actively lying to my closest friend. I don't feel like that's true. I feel like you regularly lie, but all right. She's like, "It was Jim. It was my uncle. He did it." He's like, "How is that possible?" He was like interrogated by the most powerful mind reader, Jade Valance. "Maybe she's not as good as she claims to be." "Nope, she's better. I've seen her read the mind of someone 1,000 yards away." He asks her, "Are you working for the uprising?" She says, "Yes." "What have you done for them?" "Oh, the weapons cache. You gave them the grids?" And she asks, "You know your mom is modified, right?" The general might be in denial about it, but deep down you know what she is. "Have you ever met a mod whose mind has been fragmented?" He's like, "Her symptoms are close enough to schizophrenia, but you suspected she was modified despite her veins that they don't light up because yours don't light up either." "You can't tell the uprising I'm modified. If they use that information against me, if it gets back to my brothers, my family, they'll kill me. I'm not working for the uprising." "But you'll work for command? You'll help your father kill all the people who are like you?" "Have you ever seen me kill a mod? I do more good here than I would anywhere else." They have to cut this conversation short because an uprising fighter jet crashes into one of their weapons depots. They go there, a bomb goes off while several people from Silver Elite are inside the building, including his friend Tyler, who's a girl, somebody else who I don't remember, and then her friend Kane. They hear some like weird static and they're like, "Oh, maybe somebody's alive," but apparently not. It actually ended up being a trap because they were brought to the location by 2 planes called B-8s, which are new, and one of them is stolen. The pieces of the puzzle click into place. They crashed their fighter on purpose. Their pilot was never inside the depot. He sprang the trap and then waited for us to go back to the crash site or for Tyler's team to investigate. They used the crash as a diversion, a smokescreen to cover their true objective, and while we were distracted by the chaos of the explosion, They stole one of our most advanced bomber jets. And then she thinks, our bomber jets. Confusion fogs my brain. I realized I was thinking of myself as part of the command. My people stole the jet, but the lines are blurring. God, they're blurring. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how? How? Like when I talk about church and I accidentally say our, even though I've left, that makes sense because I was a part of it for a really long time. It doesn't make sense for her because she went into this actively working against them. They get into an argument, her and Krause, because he's like, you didn't know, you were blindsided. She's like, I would never have led them into an ambush, especially my friend Kane. They don't talk for a couple of days, but when they finally do, she's like, I'm gonna reveal some stuff to you. My uncle didn't find me on the side of the road. He smuggled me out of the city when I was 5 years old. My parents were uprising operatives working to take the system down from within. My father died in the field. My mother was executed for concealment. Whenever I spoke to Wolf about my father, I was referring to Jim. The truth is I don't remember my parents. I never knew them. I don't remember anything really before Jim took me to the Blacklands. We lived in darkness for almost 3 years. We found a sun pocket in a grassy clearing that got about 5 hours of light a day. My parents asked him to protect me, so that's what he did. And when he deemed it safe, we returned to the wards and set ourselves up in Z. We really have been ranching these past 12 years. I knew he was modified. And I'm like, why did he deem it safe to suddenly return to the ward? Why? Why did he do that? No answer. He didn't work for the uprising, neither did I, until I got here. Also, I lied to you when I said I only have one ability. I have a bunch. And she's like, by the way, I went to go see Ellis earlier, the healer, and she reveals that she had him remove her scars on her legs so that she can show him her aberrant mark. And she's like, by the way, Ellis is working for the uprising, which she just found out. She confirmed it with Adrian, her uprising contact. He's been undercover here for years. She's like, I'm a projector and a telepath. Oh, and also I can incite, so I can force people to do things, but I really have no control over that. I'm sorry I lied to you. I wasn't sure if I could fully trust you. Jim burned the leg skin so that I wouldn't have the mark on my leg anymore when I was a kid. It showed up when I was 7. He didn't want anyone to know what I was, including the uprising. He kept that I was modified, like that I could incite away from the uprising. He never told them like where I really came from. He knew I would be used as a pawn. My mom knew too. That's why she sent me away. She was the first person I incited when I was 5. She recognized the danger in it, especially in the hands of a child, so she begged Jim to take me far away. Other than him, you're the only one I've ever told. And Tana and Ellis. So not the only one she's ever told. And he's like, I'm angry at you for exposing yourself, for removing the only god fucking layer of protection you had between you and your enemies. And she said, I wanted to show you that you could trust me. I wanted to show you me. And I'm like, you did not need to take off that thing protecting you from being seen as an aberrant to prove that to him. You could have just told him the truth and said, these marks are on my leg because I have a modified mark. Like, bitch, you call yourself strategic and then you make the dumbest, most unstrategized moves possible. It's ridiculous. And of course, instead of having that conversation, he reaches up to cut my breasts, squeezing, toying with my nipples. He runs his fingers over my newly healed thigh and it feels so weird to feel there. There was no sensation there for so long that it's like discovering a new erogenous zone. God, what is this, like Ben from November 9? What are we doing? Before they bone, she's like, I didn't know about the ambush. He says, I believe you. Krause says, then thrusts upward and fills me so deep I gasp, brother. Afterwards, he says, I've loved you since I was 8 years old. I'm still adjusting to all of this, trying to merge the two of you. Daisy, Ren. I'm sorry I lashed out after we lost Hyler and Sutler, Kane, and Jones. I don't remember who Jones was. It's really meaningless. I led them into a trap. You didn't know. I would have if I hadn't been so distracted. By me. Yes, but that's not your fault. Disagree. You're in my soul, Ren. I take a breath and feel you in my chest. Like smoke. That's in the book. It's just like, that's what she is. She's smoke. He's gonna die of smoke inhalation because she's so reckless. You've been inside me since I was a kid, and the thought of losing you. Sutler was a good guy, but his life is irrelevant compared to yours. Yours is the only life that matters. I will rip anyone's throat out, burn the entire fucking world to the ground if it means keeping you safe. He says that he loves her. She says, I love you too. He says, I know. Cocky bastard. I've never said those 3 words to anyone before, and here he is taking them for granted. She asked him about his tattoos, and this pissed me off. This pissed me off because he says that he originally got a small wing on the inside of his wrist. Nothing for my dad to lose his shit over, but he took me to the hospital in the point and threw me in the regen chamber and made it disappear. Pissed me off so bad, I went to the ink parlor the following night and got an entire sleeve tattooed. And I'm like, what you mean an entire sleeve tattooed in one night? That's not possible. I fear that's not. Do you know how long this took? This took 6 hours. This took 3. What do you mean? You got it. So like a full sleeve on a man with a large arm is going to take a minimum of 10 hours. So like maybe you could get it done in a night if you stay up all night. I don't know. It's just what are we doing? Like, you got a whole sleeve in a night? Okay, sure, bud. And it's like fire and wings and words. I don't think no. And it's not even like it's not even like color, right? Like, let's say it's just black and white. Still, the amount of space, like, this is 6 hours. So like this is another 6. This is another 6 or so. You got more filler over here. Like, you got a ton of, like, it's not possible. It's just not possible. You don't get a full sleeve in 10 hours in under 10 hours. Like, there's no way that he did that and went to bed. I don't know. I need answers. It's just there to make him sound cool. And I'm like, people who actually have tattoos know that that's bullshit. They take fucking forever. Like, sure, this I got done in 45 minutes. There's no shading. It's just a bunch of lines. This, wings and words and flames, unless it's like chicken scratch, it looks like shit. Anyway, sorry. That just bothered me. Like, we couldn't have Googled how long does it take to get a full sleeve with shading. No? Okay. So they talk about the fact that the uprising is planning to do something at the Silver Jubilee. I only just found out. I don't even know what the plan is. I'm so low on the food chain that it would take an infinity ladder to see the top. What? There will be civilians in attendance at the Jubilee. I assume whatever they have planned won't involve the guests. The network would never harm innocents. You don't know that. They harmed innocents at the weapons depot. 3, that's minimum casualties. Wow, Dove, I'm sure Kane would love it if he heard that. It kills me I lost Kane. If I'd been involved in the planning of that op, I would have tried to talk them into setting the bomb off when the warehouse was empty. All I'm saying is large-scale casualty events are not the way mods operate. They don't bomb large groups of people. That's the general's MO. How many were killed in the Silverblood Purge? Tens of thousands? Entire mod communities wiped out. The uprising doesn't target civilians. When has there ever been a high casualty event caused by the uprising? There have been bombings. How many civilians dead? All right, it's true. They don't target civilians. So what the hell are they planning for the Jubilee then? Is my father the target? Would you care if he was? I don't know. Oh no, he has daddy issues. It's difficult on the base without Kane. I didn't realize what an integral part of my life he was. Girl, me neither. He was barely around. I forgot what his last name was at one point. And when it got brought up, I'm like, who? Her friend Liddy, who didn't get into Silver Elite but is in like Silver Squad, asks, hey, have you noticed any tension between Captain Redden Cross and his brother Travis, the Colonel? Because things have been really tense in intelligence since the bomber was stolen and Travis is on edge. He said that the unit has gotten complacent, but he's going to change that, and that he's putting together a short list of high-ranking officers. And she's like, wow, for someone who works in intelligence, Liddy has a big mouth. It's that one dangerous trait of hers that she was unable to conquer during our training. I'm like, why would you ever trust this person? To her detriment later. So she tells Cross, hey, your brother's looking to replace you as the leader of Silver Elite, and Cross is like, he'll have to go through our father first, which I don't really know why Cross is the favorite, but all right. So she gets told that she needs to, by the uprising, that she needs to go plant explosive. And of course, because she's in Silver Elite, it comes with security perks that like she never gets questioned whenever she's moving about. And so she's setting explosives, and who shows up? Jade Valance, the lady on the tribunal who can also mind read, who works for the regime. And she's like, I saw you set the charges because I can, she's like a prophetic, she has the power of prophecy, so she knows things before they happen. I interrogated you after Julian Ash's execution. You did, and you cleared me because I didn't do anything wrong. How were you able to keep your mind controlled for so long? It's extraordinary. I don't know what you're talking about. She calls out to Cross and she's like, I need you to come here. Jade Valance just had me, had a vision of me aiding the uprising. Jade didn't bring any backup because she thinks that she can handle Ren on her own. Tell me how you did it. Who trained you? That kind of shielding requires extensive training, years of it, decades. I don't know what you're talking about. I just have a regular shield that I learned in lower school and then shored up in the program. But then she reveals that she is in fact modified, and the like zap that you feel when you have somebody tap into your brain, Ren doesn't really clock it like everybody else does. Like, it doesn't really bother her. Do you realize the shock you receive when another aberrant infiltrates your mind is the equivalent of almost 500 volts, and you just ignore it? And your veins, they don't change. You're working for the uprising, oh you stupid foolish girl. You're fighting for the wrong team, Darlington. We're not the villains here. You've murdered thousands of your own people. They're not my people, especially not the ones you're working for. They're unnatural. They're corrupting minds. If you surrender right now, I won't kill you. I want to study you. I want to work with you. I would never work with you. She starts to incite Jade and realizes that she can get her to move her gun down. I wish you would reconsider. You're extraordinary. I've never encountered someone with such a strong mind. Yes, I'm sure this is a sincere offer, and I'll just skip into the capital. You and I will work happily, our offices side by side. Of course not. You'd be a prisoner at first. But I think once I teach you everything there is to know, once I show you the possibilities, you'll understand why I'm working with the general. I would never work for you. You're the reason my uncle's dead. He's the reason he's dead. So she's trying to incite Jade to shoot herself in the head. And the only way that she can get her to do it is by verbalizing the words, because just saying it in her mind isn't working. So she says, raise the gun to your head, and Jade does it and shoots herself. Cross comes in. She's like, I incited her. He's like, all right, I got this. He calls his friend Xavier and he's like, hey, I need you to get me some sanitation. And Xavier just like doesn't give a fuck about any of this, which is really weird, and it only gets weirder. There's no explanation for any of this. He's like, all right, you are going to walk into the ballroom today. You're going to go to the silver thing, the ball. You're going to act like nothing happened, smile at your superiors, shake the general's hand, tell them how much you love Silverblock. You're going to congratulate him on 25 years of valiant, impeccable rule. That's it. So she agrees. She goes back to her room. She thinks to herself, I like to think I've grown since I got here. I've learned to be more patient. When? I've learned to trust someone other than myself. Yeah, to your detriment. I've even started to rein in my impulses. Girl, where? How? What? At what time? Show me an example. It even says sort of sometimes. Girl, never. Not a single time. Always not. Her friend Liddy comes into her room and she's not ready. She's in a towel. She's like, I need to put my dress on. And Liddy sees that her leg is not all scarred up anymore. She's like, what happened to your scars? You let an aberrant touch you? Because Liddy is really grossed out by aberrants. And Liddy sees the blood mark on her leg that denotes that she is a modified. Oh my gosh, that's a blood mark. You're aberrant? How could you lie to me all this time? Oh my God. They know I'm aberrant, crossing the general. This is and it's this is the reason Uncle Jim liked having me talk to the soldiers in Hamlet. My ability to improvise, it serves me well now. You better be joking. This is a joke, right? This is that good one. Good one. You really got me. Hee hee ha ha. No. Your ability to improvise is shit. Just like you have no strategy powers, you have no improvisational skills. Not a one. Zero. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Anyway, she says that she's undercover. They recruited me when I was in lower school. My parents still serve the general in Ward Z. Our cattle feeds the command. Them being dead was all part of my cover. They gave me a fake aberrant uncle so no one would suspect what I was. This is a terrible fake story. And like, this is only going to work for like the next hour. What's your ability? Telepathy and healing. You're a healer? Yes, that's why they wanted me in elite. Why are your burns gone? The general decided it would encourage unity in elite. Oh God, this is such a dumb plan. Did Kane know? No, he died before the general instructed me to reveal myself to the captain. Cross hasn't told the unit yet. And then from behind them comes Ivy, Cross's ex, who says, told them what? And Liddy's like, Ren is an aberrant operative. Only the general and his inner circle know. Cross is briefing the rest of elite tomorrow. If I wanted to hurt you guys, I had ample opportunities to do it. She's like, let's go to the party. That's all. Everything else can wait till tomorrow. Cross will explain everything tomorrow. Promise me you won't say anything. Liddy promises. Ivy doesn't say anything. They leave. She tells Cross on, telepathy, hey, things have gone from bad to worse. Liddy and Ivy saw my blood mark. And he goes, fuck's sake, you never should have removed that fucking scar. I was trying to prove my love to you, asshole. And I did a stupid, impulsive thing. Oh my God, you just said that your impulses have gotten better. In my defense, I didn't think many people would be seeing my bare thighs. I'm usually wearing my clothes unless I'm with you. Kill me. I fed them a story about how I'm undercover. I honestly don't know how we're gonna get out of this, but we need to come up with a plan. I might need to leave. I'm not letting you out of my sight. He literally does though. Like that's what ends up happening. They go to the silver party and she locks eyes with Adrian, which is her contact in the uprising. The General Redden, the guy in charge, Cross's dad, starts to make a speech, and the stuff he's saying some of it doesn't make any sense. Like, it sounds like he's having a stroke. President Severin tore the very fabric of morality by inciting the minds of both his prime enemies and his aberrant allies. But together the primes stood united in our resolve to forge a new path, a path of liberation and order. Under my guidance, we liberated ourselves from the aberrations that tried to destroy us. We cleansed the continent. I was a simple man. I led a unit of men. I served Severn dutifully, and my wife was in the garden. And they're like, what? I've raised my sons to believe that we can be everything that's ever tried to do was not good. 25 years and look what we've accomplished. Our society is a well-oiled machine, and when she was in the garden, she told me, and she's like, what the fuck is happening? Is Adrian doing this? And so, my fellow comrades and honored friends, where did Vanessa go? Raise your glasses to another 25 years. Cross is not, but everybody is, and I saw her there, and I thought yes, or was it no? And they're like, I think that we're having a blood pressure medication issue. Let's just get this guy out of here. You know, let's go. The rest of his words are drowned out by an explosion. She goes and she finds Adrian while chaos is erupting. And Adrian is keeled over. She's not doing well because she just exerted a lot of power doing whatever the fuck that was. Adrian's like, I need to get to the rendezvous. Ren is like, I'll help you. How did you do that to his brain? It happens naturally. It's a matter of rewiring. It's rare. It's rarer than incitement. So then Ro, Cross's little brother, who's like an asshole, shows up and is like, you really think I'm gonna let you escape after you tried to blow up a command installation? I want nothing more than to bash your aberrant brains into the concrete. You fects make me sick. And she's like, oh my gosh, Ivy must have told, but who runs up? Liddy, her friend. I promise you I saw it. And she's like, oh my God, Liddy, how can you betray me? And I'm like, how could you think that anything else would happen? Are you serious? And so then she's right back where she started in the stockade. She was able to link with Cross, and he's like, I'll be there as soon as I can. He's in briefings. The uprising destroyed the entire northern quadrant of the base, including a hangar full of fighter jets. Good for them. Go off. The tribunal has appointed Travis the general. The actual general, I don't know what happened to him, if he's like dead or if they're like, you clearly were having a stroke, goodbye. And Travis, Cross's older brother, who's now the general, has decided that every mod we know of is being rounded up and sent to labor camps for the time being, slaves and loyalists. He says he'll decide whether to let them live on a case-by-case basis, even though they've been loyal for years. You're either a prisoner or you're dead. What about me? Am I a prisoner? Am I dead? You've been scheduled to die. Tribunal just let out. Nobody's looking for Jade, by the way. Her body was found this morning. What a shame she killed herself right after Travis announced that even the loyalists would be detained. So he set that up to make it look like she was donezo on her own, which like technically she was. She gets contacted by Adrian and she's like, I've spoken to the authority on your behalf. And Brenda's like, who the fuck is the authority? I thought you were in charge. I am, but not alone. I told them how integral you were to gaining access to the general, setting the decoy charges. So the charges that she set were decoys. There were different charges that actually went off. Your admission has been approved. Ren's like, I'm scheduled to die tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ren, but we can't risk aircraft to come get you. What if I come to you? Well, if you get here, you'd have to either come by air or go through the Blacklands. But if you do, link me when you are here and I'll come collect you. So Cross is like, bet, I'll get you out of here. And so his friend Xavier, once again, and her, just steal a truck and dip. She says, hey, by the way, I think the uprising corrupted your mother's mind. I don't know that she's aberrant. I don't think she's a mod. I don't have any evidence of what I'm saying, but I can ask Adrian when I get to their base, but I think that they corrupted her mind just like they did to your dad. Halfway there to the Blacklands, because they're gonna go on foot, they ditch the truck. They steal 2 motorcycles out of one ward. They finally reach the Blacklands. They hide the bikes, and she turns to Xavier and she's like, are you coming with us? And Xavier says, us? You haven't told her? And Cross isn't coming. You said you were coming with me. Coming with you here, making sure you made it in one piece, but I can't go with you to the uprising. If you thought my father was ruthless, Travis is even worse. And Ro will kill mods indiscriminately. Please don't make me do this alone. You won't be alone, because Xavier is going to go with her for some reason. My mother is here. I can't leave her either. Which I'm shocked that she just forgot that he had a mom he cared about, but okay. She's like, well, then I'm staying. He's like, you can't stay. I can. Travis thinks you fooled me. He thinks it's funny that you fooled me. I'll be fine. Someone reported me leaving your quarters, and it was actually Kane, apparently. So they just think that we were sleeping together or whatever. He's like, I'm still in your head. You can still communicate with me. I love you. Goodbye. And so Xavier and Ren walk into the forest together, the Blacklands forest, which is like really dangerous, but we just breeze past the danger because it's not really dangerous, which begs the question, if it's not really dangerous, then why don't more people just live there, just hide out there? I don't know. I don't know anymore. 30 minutes in, they get attacked by some cat. We just breeze past that. And he asks her questions like, you really defect? What, you think Cross was lying to you? No, he's never lied to me. It's just you hit it well. Did she? Fine, whatever. I'm sorry I wrote that report on you that you weren't cut out for covert op. I'm more surprised that he's a defect. What else did he tell you? Last night? Not much, just that he has telepathy. Although there was this one night a couple years ago, he was still with Ivy at the time, but he was thinking of ending it with her, and he said, she's not the girl of my dreams. And I laughed and said, okay, then who is? What did he say? He said the girl of his dreams loves daisies. I think he meant you, Darlington. That's great. That's swell. I don't care. And also, what is he doing here? Does he not have a family? What's his long-term plan? Why isn't she asking? Why doesn't she ask him, hey, are you just gonna abandon your family? Or are you gonna... Jesus. My alarm just went off. It scared the shit out of me. Are you just gonna abandon your family and just go to the uprising? What's your long-term plan here? What are your thoughts on the regime that you've been working for that you're now like flying in the face of by helping out a modified, like, and she doesn't ask him any of this. It just never comes up. They're just talking about how, well, I think he was talking about you when he talked about the daisies, Darlington. You guys are in a terrifying, deadly forest together, abandoning a regime to go towards the uprising who also might kill Xavier. And you guys are just talking about this? Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, so they go into the Blacklands, the forest, and he thinks that he knows what he's doing, but she makes it abundantly clear, first and foremost, that like she's the one who knows. You don't get it. This isn't a Silver Elite operation. One wrong step and you're drowning in a pit of black sand, so please stay close to me. Follow me and I'll get us where we need to go. And I'm like, number one, this sounds like the forest from The Princess Bride. And number two, if you know how to navigate this place, even though you haven't been here in like 15 years, why don't you just live there? It's clearly something that you can navigate. You have a house there. Why did you guys leave? Why did you and your uncle ever bother leaving? Why not just go back? I just don't understand this. My uncle taught me about every inch of this forest. There are tons of poisonous plant hybrids in here, and some of them far deadlier than the animals. They reach the area of the Blacklands forest that has a clearing that apparently her and her uncle were the only ones to discover. How incredibly convenient, just like the rest of this book just relies on convenience after convenience after convenience. Is that your stomach, Artemis? I think I can hear Artemis's stomach. Maybe she's hungry for a better book. They reach the clearing after painstaking steps, another dead predator, and an itchy burning arm courtesy of black snake root, and then we see it light. We drift towards the small hut that Uncle Jim built for us all those years ago, and inside the hut she finds a letter addressed to, of course, her. Who else would it be addressed to? I can't do this now. I have no clue what Uncle Jim would even write in a letter to me. She tucks it into her pocket. She talks to Xavier, and he's like, you've never gone all the way to the end and gotten out from the other side? And she says, I was 5 years old when we came here, and we left when I was 8. There was no way Jim was letting me gallivant around this nightmare at that age. Which is weird, because it literally said in the same chapter, my uncle taught me about every inch of this forest. Sure. Just not the parts that Xavier just brought up. Okay, fine. So she does read the letter, but she doesn't read it to the audience. It's just like, I'm so shocked. I'm forced to read it a second time to make sure I'm understanding it properly. I crush it up into a ball and I throw it in the fire that we made. It takes 2 days to reach the other side, 4 to 8 hours in which we bicker and hiss at each other, in which we talk about Cross and how much I already miss him, in which we talk about Tyler. Tyler was the girl that that Xavier was dating. Don't worry, we find out that he's bi, but we don't find out whether or not he feels any remorse at abandoning his post in the regime and worry about what's going to happen if he goes back. Is he going back? We don't know. We don't talk about that. Instead, it says, the men or women he's dated in the past, he confesses that when it comes to sex, he rarely, if ever, considers the consequences of his actions. I learned more about Xavier Ford than I ever wanted to know, and by the time we see it, the light penetrating the mist about 100 yards away, it feels like we're old friends. We did it, Darlington. You learn more about Xavier Ford than you've ever wanted to know, but that doesn't include his feelings about what he's actively doing, which is treasonous to the regime he's been serving. Okay, sure. This makes no fucking sense. So she telepathizes. What? I'm so tired. She telepathically reaches out to Adrian, her contact. She projects her location to Adrian. Adrian's like, do you see that hill? Go up that hill. The hello will land and pick you up. And she telepathically hangs up with Adrian, and Xavier's like, did you tell them that I was with you? And she's like, oh no, I forgot. Slipped my mind. And I'm like, how? Strategic where? He's thinking about going back home, which again, I don't know what the fuck his plan was. He literally just did treason, but okay. He's like, I could make it. She's like, you want to go back in there by yourself? I do need to be here. I promised him I wouldn't leave your side. You promised him to get me to the uprising. You don't need to stay, Xavier. I have no idea what we're going to find at their base, which is precisely why you need the backup. He'd never forgive me if I let you walk in there by yourself. You should call Adrian now and tell her, hey, I have an accomplice. What? An accompaniment. A fellow person. Oh, Jesus, I'm so tired. And so they just don't tell Adrian. And so they get to the pickup. People start coming out of the hello. She locks eyes with one of them and she says, you fucking asshole. And it's Kane. What the hell? How are you alive? We had a funeral for you. I cried. You cried at my funeral? That's actually pretty sweet. And Adrian says, not the time, Gray. Who the hell is Gray? If you were smart, you'd pick up on context clues and remember the name of that hotshot pilot who works for the Resistance, but you're not smart. You're not, despite me being told that you are. You god fucking prick, Xavier spits out. You killed Tyler. She's like, oh shit, he did. Kane did kind of kill Tyler. They restrain Xavier because obviously Xavier is outnumbered. Let him go. He helped me. He's helping us. We'll let Adrian and the authority decide that. He risked his life to get me out of the city. I don't think they'll care, says Kane. I told you to go, Xavier. Why didn't you just go? I don't break my promises. Kane says that Struck was collateral damage. You let her walk into a building you knew was about to explode. How could you do that? In war, we do a lot of things that we don't want to do. And that was the same thing that Kane told her when she killed Bryce in order to get into Silver Elite. You infiltrated the program for what? Just to steal a new piece of technology? A plane? They placed you there for a plane? Well, yeah, because I'm the only one who can fly it. You're Grayson Blake, Mr. Hotshot Pilot. How could you keep that secret from me? You are so dumb. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. I'm so tired of listening to you talk. Watching your brain try to work is like watching a car accident. It's horrible and I can't look away, but I'm also horrified and disgusted by it. You're so stupid. What do you mean? Why would he tell you that? Look who's talking, Miss Bloodmark over here. Yeah, Ellis, the healer, told us. Well, of course he did. He works with... Never mind. Why the hell would you bring Xavier with you? He helped me. I don't care, and neither will the others. Why didn't you at least tell Adrian? Like, hey, Adrian, I'm bringing a command lieutenant with me. Honestly, I forgot. Are you joking? Are you joking? You forgot? Strategic? Strategic where? I need to ask yourself if you're ready for a war, Ren, because that's what you're signing up for by coming here. The uprising is coming for the company. Even if I didn't want that, you've left me no choice. So... she goes off with the uprising. She opens a channel to talk to Cross. All she says is, we made it. I can't talk, but I just wanted to say, I love you. I love you too, Dove. Reach out when you can. They get into the helicopter and then the chapter ends and the ending of the book is you see the letter that her uncle wrote to her that she got upset about and threw away. In it, he says, your name is Stella Hess. Frankly, I'm just surprised it's not another name that starts with D because she's Darlington, Daisy, and Dove. Artemis, are you well? Your stomach is making bonkers noises right now. I'm afraid of what the litter box is going to look like later. Your name is Stella Hess. Your mother's name was Marina Serrano. Serrano? And she had bronze skin, and she was from Tierra Fe. Huh. Interesting. She was executed for concealing her modified identity from the company. I loved her deeply despite what she was. What do you mean by that, despite what she was? Your father's name was Jake Hess. For Christmas this year, the Hess truck's here. He died in the Sunpost attack. A modified retaliation to the bombing of Valterra Ridge, the bombing your parents coordinated. Her parents, they weren't all good. They betrayed the uprising. To the uprising, your parents are known as the Tin Block Traitors. They are responsible for the loss of countless modified lives. Your brother, she doesn't have one of those as of yet. Your mother betrayed her people, and your father helped her do it. I love you as if you were my own daughter. I will love you even after I'm gone, little bird. Burn this letter after reading. Obviously, I have a lot of complaints. I'm a little shocked by the ending of this because I just can't help but think about how little thought she gives about Cross, both in regards to caring about him and then caring about how some of the stuff he did was actually really shitty. It just gets glossed over. So first of all, he loves his mom. She knows this now. And he couldn't just leave. And she wasn't even thinking about the fact that he couldn't just leave his mom. She wasn't strategizing for a strategist. For a very strategic person, she really wasn't thinking, if he leaves, who's going to take care of his mom? They just left. We just breezed through the ending. Just and we're leaving, and there's no barrier to us leaving, and now we're in the forest that nobody's able to survive, and we're fine. It's just ridiculous. But the thing that really bugs me is how little thought she gives to all the stuff that he said, both good and bad. He said while he was just Wolf to her, before she knew that Wolf and Cross were the same person, that he felt like he was losing a part of himself by pretending to be something else every day. And she doesn't really think about this. She doesn't really think about how much of a toll that must take and how that's something that they can bond over. They just never have that conversation. And she doesn't think about when she goes through the Blacklands and he has to go back, how he has to choose. He feels like he has to choose to be back in that position. And she's not even worried about it. When she's not even hey, are you okay? Do you feel like you've lost something? She just leaves him to it. Oh, okay, I know you feel like you're losing a part of yourself and you're probably deeply depressed, but bye. What? But they also don't grapple with the shitty stuff that he said either. Everything that he said, good and bad, just gets tossed away. He literally said that if she didn't want to be in Silverblock, he would just toss her back in the stockade. He also let Anson into the program, that guy who ended up assaulting her friend, who was only in a position where he could assault her friend because Cross let him into the program, knowing that he was a bad guy, saying that he was a killer who would be able to be a killing machine. Cross let him into the program. They never have a conversation about, is Cross actually better than his father? Is he any better? Just because he is also modified does not give him a pass to do and say these shitty things. Oh, we found out he's actually modified too. That is not everything shitty he did is fine now. That's not how this works. And then we have all of these threads that don't end up going anywhere, like the weapons manufacturer contracts and Jasper Reed. This just feels so incredibly lazy and unjustified for being 500 pages. We didn't do anything, did nothing of substance in here. In 516 pages, I'm honestly shocked at how much of a disappointment this is. I feel like I've stopped hearing about it, and I think that part of it is because the author's anonymous, so the fan following is not keeping the hype up because they haven't formed an emotional connection to the person. I was thinking about that earlier today. But more than that, I feel like this didn't hit even for the people that it was supposed to just hit for. And they're supposed to just have a good time and then put it down. I don't think it even really hit for them. I stopped hearing about this. I haven't heard anybody, and maybe I'm just talking about my algorithm. Maybe my algorithm is not serving it to me, which is a good possibility, but I haven't heard shit about the next one other than I found out the other day it's called Broken Dove. And I'm okay, well, sure. But that's it. That's all I know. I haven't heard anybody hyping it. And so I wonder if this has fallen pretty flat, even for its intended audience. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sure seems that way. So that's Silver Elite. That was part 2. We finished it. Since this is more stupid than anything, I'm willing to read the next one for content purposes if you would like me to. That's my job, and I tend to go where my audience wants me to go. But first, we have other series that we need to finish. I still need to do part 3 of Onyx Storm. I still need to read Fearless, which is the third Powerless book. And I have a whole third book of Lightlark to do, and the fourth, I think, is coming out soon. So we have other stuff that we have to get to before we get to book 2 of this, and it hasn't even come out yet. So I'm trying to catch up. We'll see how far we get before the next book comes out, but I don't anticipate this getting any better. This is disappointing from Del Rey. This is pretty disappointing. I wish somebody had worked on this a little harder, just at any point in the publishing process, to create like a book that made a little more sense and had a character who actually was who she said she was. It's just bad. It's really not good. It's not good. All right. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, you can leave I don't know. What did we even do at the end of this? Well, at one point she says she trails after Cross like a lovesick puppy. So leave a puppy emoji, a dog emoji in the comments. There you go. That's what I got. Random page picks the emoji for the day. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to and feel like it. And I'll see you next time. Bye. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons. I will say that these no longer show up on Patreon in alphabetical order, so sorry about that. And those thank yous go to Lex, SJ, Eric, Peggy Lou, Quinn, Rain, Scarlett, John E, Alexander, Samar, Ashley H, DJ Rocktopus, Kaleno K, Emerald Dodge, Ellie, Minby, Steph B, Lemon Jelly, Mixer Boneless, Lily, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Call Me Kodiak, Ree Mirage, Katya, Melissa, Kai Brecker has not read 6 of Crows, Lex, Megwin, Maddie Miss, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Jory, Piloting SRN, Bex, Fox Waifu, Charlie Bear, Ricky Strong. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. And a quick thank you to my Potato Starch Marxists, Evie, Carlin, Paige P, Sean, Sarah the Bear, Jill, Talia, Corwin, Andy Mations, Darren, Tito Phoenix, Might Be a Magpie, Martin, Artie the Ninth, Hannah C, Shamed, Ava, Malara, Rachel B, Rebecca, Baywing, Amanda, Lustful Octopus, Lady Kittybug, Angelica, Jenny G, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, Laughing Cat Dog, Dorothea Supports Public Education, Nicole G, Colleen, Sarah H, Sheen Onion, Fox Club, Danielle M, Kendra, Sakoria, Kayala, Sadie Selby, Bookish Rabbit, Caitlin M, Rosie Thorns, Penny Chilling, Katie L, Lou Siri, Aaron with 2 E's, Jen Michelle, LP, Jojo Bookish, Jessa Sue, Lazarus Ray, Casper, Genderqueer, Jelly V, Lauren G, Man-Eating Plant, Kate W, Sakia Lume, Lindsay M, Gadarn, Dilf Enthusiast, KMTV, Kaylee Carpenter, Alejandra, Desiree Michelle, Darius, Triple M, Saintbringer, Bookish B, Bookish by Jenna, Althea, Megan, Francis, Kate B, Plague Carrier, Jackalope Max, Queen Cereal, Pandemonium, Mataraptor, Rosemary K, Drive By Thinker, Juicy Wizard, Sophie L, Barry B, I Like My Women Like I Like My Books Thick, Mima Who, Katrina, Unicorn Jenny, That One Cute Chick, Hurry Sing, Myth Lesbian, This Is Not a Trap, Laura is Angry, Rhea Slagle, Morgan, Celeste, Macy Jane, Aaron S, Danita M, Cosmic Frog, Jesse, Rach, Kayla Alexander Kenny, Ren, Natural Blues, NM Rap, Che, Jing, Katuary, Taz, Miss Fox and Arda, Mac, Junie for Now, Gabby Z, T Foxbones, Pi, Adian, Mia, Fishy Fish, Chloe M, Luke has sleep token brain rot, hell yeah. Kath, Kellen R, Blubbles the Fish, Cass Plays, Jesse M. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend.